There's a lot happening in the defense supply chain space right now, especially with China's recent tightening of exports of critical materials.
Yep, right. It's like Pentagon suppliers are facing real panic and production cuts because these materials are so vital.
Exactly. And these critical minerals sort of are the backbone for a lot of Pentagon weapon systems. When China limits exports, it's like they're pulling the rug out from under the whole supply chain.
Yeah, and this isn't just a minor setback, it's a serious disruption, right? With NATO being stretched by ongoing conflicts, there's even more pressure.
Absolutely. I mean, think about this. Forever wars in the Middle East and the situation in Ukraine have drained NATO arsenals. Now, on top of that, you've got these critical supply chain issues.
Right. So, while the US and NATO are trying to boost defense spending with some giant pledges, they're also being hit with these supply chain disruptions. It's a bit of a paradox, no?
It really is. There's this ironic twist where there's a huge investment in defense, yet the actual production is stalling because the necessary materials just aren't coming through.
Okay. And from what I understand, these materials include like rare earth elements and other strategic minerals that don't have readily available alternatives.
Yes, exactly. The likes of rare earths and metals critical to defense technology are a big part of it. China's export bans on these items are causing Pentagon weapons makers to experience a shortage and cut back production.
Yep. Now, here's something that I find interesting. Some might argue that this pushes for more domestic production of these materials, right? Could that be a long term solution?
Well, that might be the hope, but setting up alternatives or mining domestically isn't a quick fix. It takes time, and meanwhile, the supply chain disruption is hitting hard.
Yeah, right. And in a defense scenario, time is definitely not a luxury you have. It almost sounds like a ticking time bomb for production.
Exactly. And there's also this angle of what it means for international relations. With China using its leverage on exports, it's sending, a clear signal to the West about dependency on its rare resources.
Agreed. But aren't there voices that might overstate China's power? I mean, in a way, couldn't, market adjustments eventually stabilize things?
I see your point, but let's be clear. This isn't just about market adjustments, it's a strategic move. The fact that nearly 1 in 10 Tier 1 subcontractors to defense primes are Chinese firms is really concerning.
Yeah, that's a good call. That statistic really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? It shows how deeply interconnected the defense supply chain is with China.
Yeah, and when you think about it, it's like trying to build a high tech machine, but one of your key components suddenly goes on back order. The entire production line slows down drastically.
Absolutely. So, this certainly raises questions about the US's reliance on foreign suppliers for defense critical materials. Maybe it's time for a strategic overhaul?
It might have to be. There are arguments for diversifying supply chains and increasing domestic production, but such shifts could come with high costs and require retooling the industry from scratch.
Exactly. And let's not forget, while the Pentagon is facing production cuts, defense spending is skyrocketing. It's almost like, throwing money at a leaky bucket.
Spot on. There's a stark contrast between spending huge amounts on defense and not being able to produce the necessary equipment fast enough because of these
Yeah,
shortages.
definitely. Now, what do you make of the broader geopolitical implications? Is China just using economic leverage, or is it a deeper strategic confrontation?
It kind of seems like both. On one hand, China's export bans are an economic lever, but on the other, it's a demonstration of strategic power. This move disrupts the operational readiness of Western defense companies.
True. So it's really a test of resilience for the US and NATO. Will they reevaluate their supply chains and bolster internal capabilities? Or will they continue to rely on a model that's, increasingly vulnerable?
That dilemma is key. It's like you might be paying top dollar for defense while being held hostage by your supply chain vulnerabilities in a critical moment.
Definitely a tough spot. And isn't it ironic that after so much spending on defense, there appears to be such a glaring oversight in strategic resource management?
Absolutely. It's kind of a wake up call, isn't it? There's this sort of interdependence that maybe wasn't fully appreciated until now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. In addition to production cuts, the panic among suppliers might also be exacerbated by pessimistic forecasts about the global supply market. Would you say that's fair?
Yep, that's exactly right. There's a lot of anxiety, not only about the immediate shortages, but also about the longer term stability of supply lines.
And this might drive a kind of scramble to secure resources that might be available elsewhere, right? Could lead to, say, a sort of bidding war.
Potentially, yes. It could intensify competition for critical materials, pushing prices up and further straining budgets and production timelines for defense companies.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, one thing I'd like to question here. While this panic is justified, do you think that there might be any overblown reactions from the media that might exaggerate the severity of the situation?
That's a good point, and I do see that happening. Some reports might favor dramatic headlines, but when you dig into the details, these are real systemic challenges that need addressing.
Right, I get that. So, you're saying that while the narrative might be a bit sensational, the underlying issue remains critically valid?
Exactly. It's like, sure, the media loves a good scare story, but when your production lines are actually shutting down because key materials aren't coming in, that alarm is genuine.
Yep. And as you pointed out, the ripple effect of these supply cuts is quite extensive, from altering defense spending priorities to forcing a re-examination of supplier contracts.
Yes, and the fact that Chinese firms are so deeply embedded as tier 1 subcontractors makes it a unique challenge. It's like being in a maze where every exit is blocked by dependency.
Exactly. So moving forward, it seems, there needs to be a dual approach, addressing immediate shortages while, at the same time, overhauling long-term supply chain strategies for defense.
Right, and that might involve policy shifts, significant investments in domestic mining, and maybe diversifying the supplier base internationally.
Yeah, that's a solid point. It's a complex web, isn't it? The interweaving of geopolitics, economics, and national security, all hinging on these critical materials.
Exactly. And while the current panic might eventually dissipate, the underlying message is clear. Strategic resource management is not something that can be taken lightly.
Absolutely. Well, it seems like the next few years might be crucial in deciding how resilient Western defense supply chains really are.
That's right. And it'll be interesting to see if this challenge spurs innovation and strategic shifts or just causes a lot more scrambling.
Yep, definitely intriguing times ahead. Thanks for breaking that down. I think it's clear that this is not just another headline, but a deep underlying issue for defense, economics, and geopolitics.
Absolutely. The discussion here is a reminder that in today's interconnected world, a change in one piece of the puzzle can really reverberate across entire systems.
Well said.